Cool. Right. So we have Cliff, who hasn't got nunchucks, which is fine because we'll use a stick on that. And Tony, who has got nunchucks. Tony, I know, saw last week because he was commenting, hey, the force is strong with him. So, Cliff, did you see what we went through last week? The first 6 moves.
Yes, I did.
Excellent, excellent. So we'll go through them, and then I'll get you guys to do it as much as you can, and then we'll just nitpick a little bit to try and give you some ideas. So this thing at the whole is only allowed to take 30 minutes anyway on Zoom before we get kicked off, it says. So if you suddenly disappear, don't panic. It's just a test to see what's going on and see if we can use it for, perhaps if this thing's going to carry on any longer, well, at least we can do some actual training as much as, rather than just me talking inanely to the computer. Cool. Right. I've invited everybody as much as I think I know how to do. So we'll start off. We've got, start off with warming these things up. If I move myself back and then I'm still attached to the speakers, I use my stick to start off with because then it's a bit easier. When it comes to warming yourselves up with these, we need to warm up the wrists inside and outside. And that has a connotation, that has an effect later on. When it comes to using the nunchucks and the power gets out of your hand, it's good to be comfortable to be able to move it around. So as well as going forwards, we need to go backwards, which is the awkward one. That's it. And it's tight fingers, loose wrists. Tony's already got incredibly tight wrists, loose fingers. It's cool. Cool. So these things going forwards and backwards. Also, once you've got the basic 6 bits, it adds a bit of flair to it, because when you hit something, it's going to come back off at the angle that you did it off. So if you can then control it back, and it works with the sticks, it goes exactly straight through to the sticks. So whatever we're doing with the nunchucks, because it's a straight line weapon, it works with the sticks. Okay, so cool. I have my light up ones here because then you stand a chance of seeing them. I don't know if you saw the light up ones in the dojo, Cliff, but they hurt like crazy. They're acrylic, and if it hits me, we know about it.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to play with them when you brought them in.
That was it. So I wasn't going to use them. I was just going to use the foam ones, but last week they lit up, then you could see them, and the foam ones are black, so you couldn't see the damn thing. So I had to do the entire night with these things, and was really hoping that I didn't hit myself in the head. So cool. So the initial straightforward attack, we're holding these in a sergeant major position, so it's as if it's in that situation there. And if it was a stick, it's in a straight line. If it's my nunchucks, woof woof. So it's in exactly the same position like that, but I just bend in this bit down. So that's the only difference. It's, if it was a stick, it'd be in a straight line to the sergeant major, but it's a nunchuck, so it's straight down in front of me. And I'm pushing, punching out so that it sends that top one off in a straight line. And because of the way I'm doing it, my straight line is looking to get him in his throat to the bridge of his nose area. That's what we're looking at. So if it's the stick from a sergeant major position, we still can launch it in exactly the same position. And if I step back a bit so I don't kill my computer, with the nunchucks, we do exactly the same. And then because there's the power coming out of this, as Tony's seeing, I then have to circle it forwards to be able to catch it underneath. So we strike down, forwards, and underneath. Sergeant major position, we strike down, and then underneath. That's it. Straight, forwards, to underneath. That's it, Cliff. Good, yeah. And you get used to doing that. And we use the sergeant major position anyway when it comes to stick fighting, because it's a brilliant start. It's a good way. It's a nice control. You'll quite often see us standing there like that, ready to work from it. And that's just the inside version of it. Cool. Now, we go back to the nunchucks for Tony for just a sec. Where this is off spinning, it's a bit harder. So try it and catch it underneath your armpit. Go on, Tony. Flip it
Right
forwards. Yep, flip it forwards. Spin it. That's it. And now spin it on the outside as well. So it comes forwards to strike, then it comes outside and then in. So you get that one extra turn in it. That's it. Forwards, out and in. That's it. Forwards, out and in. That's it. Good. And this is because, yeah, this is a lot of power this is coming into. We've got to do something to get that off. Sometimes just swinging it back underneath is really going to hurt my armpit. And we always want to get it straight line and underneath. Cool. Give it a go, Tony. Handy. I can see what people are. That's better. That's better. Good. Yeah. Right. So, Cliff, exactly the same with you. It's a straight line attack. Goes underneath and back under. Good. And it's a nice simple way to keep this weapon when we're not using it, but also to keep it as a discrete thing. So if I'm using the stick, if I'm standing straight on as we're doing at the moment because we're concentrating on just the weapon, you can see it, but in reality we're going to be slightly turned towards my opponent in this effect, which we will come to later, putting your feet in the right place. So there's even less looking at it there, and then I can use the pivot of my hips to strike it out even quicker. As that comes to center line, that then comes back and underneath. And we're the same with the nunchucks. We put it out the way. This is the position we're in at the moment. We're stepping back, we're just covering that. You can't see it, it's a bit more hidden, it's a bit more point of having the weapon. Okay, cool. So now comes the fun bit. We've learnt that straight line, bang. It's obvious, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's getting the bits to work in that area. Now, that front X is the easy bit. The hard bit is doing straight lines and X's behind your back. So as we've got the opportunity to do it with a stick, it's a great warm-up before we do the weapon, but also it's how I would use it as well. That can be passed over to that hand. Now, it's not right over the shoulder, you see, it's on my bicep. Yeah, and that's the trick that people quite often make the mistake of, is that they try and do it at the back there where the weapon won't reach. Do it over your bicep. You can go over. That's it. And it's so much easier over the bicep, isn't it? Because it makes natural sense, but people think it should be as hard as possible. No, make it as easy as possible, because from this position, top down, bottom up. That's what we're aiming to be able to do, top down and bottom up. And then if we swap it over to the other side, top down and bottom up, because this is kind of limiting us putting the weapon behind us. Although we've got this nice elbows there that could do the damage, it's kind of limiting us. We've got to be able to instantly pull it out as we want. So if you've got a stick, just moving from side to side, working it over the bicep, warms those shoulder muscles up. And at the moment, we're going top down, top down, top down, top down. That's it. Now, because we're using gravity on our side, if I duck down, you can see it. We're using gravity on our side. When it comes to using the nunchucks, it's a lot easier to go top down. Let me just take this off for a split sec. Gravity helps it. When it comes to going up,
Don't drop them.
chair there, don't hit the chair. When it comes to going down to up, gravity is against us. So we have to slightly air the sticks or the nunchucks off to one side so that it doesn't come and hit us in the back of the head. And you see how, because I'm needing to get out of the way, I am moving a lot more. So top down because of gravity, nice and simple. I can do it without hardly moving. Bottom down, I have to move because I don't want to get hit by it if I miss. God, it's really hard to do with the microphone on and hiding. Cool. There. So I move so I don't get hit.
Blurry.
But oh yeah, with the stick, it's going up. but still practice it exactly the same as I would with the nunchucks. I'm still moving more. There. So nice and simple. Tony's got phone 1, so he shouldn't knock himself out. So it's easy going top down. Make it harder, go bottom up. So top down, bottom up. That's it, Tony. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And then once you get that idea, move out the way. So when you launch the weapon up, you get out the way so that it's in the same place, but you're not. Yeah, Tony's getting the idea of this now. It's hard, isn't it? So that's why this is the second one. Yeah, this is the harder one to learn. This bit's easy because gravity's on our side and makes people look great straight away. Good. This bit is a lot harder, especially when you've got microphone cable on. And also, if we miss, we get knocked out. So there's always that thing that's kicking with our mind. Brilliant. Now, cool. Yeah, you got enough there to practice with, Tony. We're using exactly the same bit on this bicep area as it was going down. It's exactly the same shape. It's just Yep, exactly the same place. It's just a bit scarier in the head. That's it. Oh, nearly. Get your hand in there and it would have got it. Yeah. You can see this, Cliff, can't you? He's getting there. Yeah, each one you're getting slightly better on, so that's good.
Where's Cliff gone?
Oh, it's Cliff. I can see him.
You.
He's here. So that's working really well, okay? You can use the stick and you can use the nunchucks and exactly the same. Start off circles left, circles right, and then passing it over behind, and then passing it back up. Cool. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Exactly the same lines as we always do. And because this weapon's moving, we use it exactly the same as a stick. So the only slight difference is the start position. Because we've done the Sergeant Major first, caught it, we then spin it up over our shoulder and catch it so that we're ready to attack. That's it. You got it. Oh, the dog. I was going to say, Tony, you've got this. Cool. So you stay there, Cliff, and I will bring Tony into it. So we start off in that position. We strike and put it underneath. Yep. And then we go over the top and we're ready to go. That's it. That's it. So from there, Tony. That's it. That's it. Stay there. That's it. Flip it over. You were spot on. That's it. You were spot on. Perfect. Just use the stick so that Cliff can see it. So from this position, our number 1 strike is over the top and down. Yeah, and as Tony's demonstrating, once it gets to where it wants to go, it bounces all over the place. So we use our hips to catch it and rotate it around to catch it on this side so that we can then circle that energy out to get it back. Yeah, I'll take this off and show you. That's it. It's all with you at the moment, Cliff. It is a bit of about imagination, but the lines are still exactly the same because once this is moving, it's the same as this. It's a straight line once it's moving. That's it. You're all getting the idea there. Tony is still looking amused, but you get it. I know it. So
you're really slow. I can hardly see you. Just really slow.
Ah.
You're really slow. I can't even. You're not moving.
Ah. Okay. Cool. That makes a bit of sense. 2 shakes of a lamb's thingy. I've had an idea.
you stop still stationary.
Yeah, it's saying my internet is unstable here. It's probably the lightsabers confusing it. So. I'm loving the confused look on your face, Tony. So you all...
Well, you're not actually moving.
Oh, cool. That's even cleverer. So from there...
Actually,
Oh, the Matrix has finally got me. Excellent, Neo. I liking that. Do you remember the first line, Tony, where it comes down and across your hips and back up?
I know all of that.
Yep. Good. So there. That's it. Perfect. Good. Perfect. There we go. Number 2. Cool. Excellent. Yeah. So you stop there. You've got number 1 and number 2 enough. There we go. Up to number 3 and over. Yep. Looking good.
And then the Francis died.
It's all right. That's the catch. We can move on to that next. There we go. Yeah. Perfect. Cool. Right. Let's pop these back on. Cliff, how are you doing? Can you hear me? Excellent. Okay, so Tony just went through them pretty quick. He's got the idea of that. So it's just finesse with Tony that we need to work on. So I'll use the stick, same as yourself. Actually, if I use that stick, you might be able to see it a bit easier. So from the initial behind, we're coming down for a 1, across the belly and back over. It'd be so much easier if I could turn the sound off. And then with the second one, so that's the first one, down, across and over. With the second one, we have to do a number 1, but then it goes around and comes back down to do the number 2. But then you've got that power to get rid of. So you've then got to be able to spin it to be able to catch it. And because of the way it's coming, that's it. It's going to be an underarm to catch it under the armpit.
Sod off, dog.
Perfect. I'm liking this, Cliff. We're doing well on this. So that's the first strike, number 1, number 2. Number 3 and number 4. 3 is the awkward one because you don't want to get knocked out by it. Almost spot on there, Cliff. So yeah, so because it drops and comes up, so we're doing that. We then use the back arm to flip it over the shoulder because then it's ready to come up for that number 4 angle. There we go. And as you see, it's going to need some power to get rid of, so we can then do that with it. Cool. And an awful lot of these is playing with it. Even with the stick, it's just going, but if I'm doing, how do I get to that angle? Oh yeah, that comes to that angle. So how do I get to that angle? Oh, it's going to be up that side. So an awful lot of it is playing with it. And if the stick gets away from you, or the nunchucks get away from you, hit the floor with them, hit the wall with them, hit your forearm with them. Those are the safest areas to catch, all right? Because it does. Even when we're training with this, with the stick fighting, I use the inside of my arm a lot to catch it. So it's, and you've seen that one in the class where I catch my arm to stop this thing to kind of get rid of some of the power. So a couple of ones as Tony's getting more into this now that I was using last week is the inner thigh catch. Now, As long as you're between the knee and just a little bit, it doesn't hurt. But if you go too far up to the middle, it's gonna hurt. I don't know if this will work because of the internet and all of that, but Tony and me did a demo many moons ago where I made most of the Boy Scouts that were in the demo wet themselves because they all thought I hit myself in the testicles with them, and luckily I didn't, but it was very close to it. So, but that's when the nunchucks are getting
It was
away.
funny.
It was very funny. Yeah. I wish I had the video of it. It's got to be around somewhere. We spent at least an hour working out this really cool demo that failed abysmally, but they didn't know it failed. So,
Miserably, yeah.
so with that, what we're doing with this is when it gets away from me, just using my leg to take some of the momentum out of it, and it's the same side. You've got your foam one so you can play, but it's the same side as your leg is that, and it's just to catch it and let some of the momentum out so that you can get control of it again. You see an awful lot of the freestylers in America do all these amazing fancy things with it, but to me, that doesn't work because I want to learn the weapon to use it as a weapon, not to use it as a display bit. I think they look really cool, but that's not why I'm learning it. And the reason why I learned that one is because that's where it worked from, and that's where when I was being taught it worked. The neck one I only do to show off. I wouldn't use that in real life because I don't want this thing going anywhere near me. I only use that one in demos to show off because yeah, the kids do go, oh my God, that's coming near his head. And that wouldn't. And that one doesn't work with the stick because you can't get it to fold over, but you've got to fold your arms over. So yes, yeah, you got to break your neck. So the last one that Tony did almost spot on earlier is number 6, which is the drop technique, for want of a better way of putting it. And I'm running out of time. Okay. I haven't got long left according to Zoom, or have I just disappeared?
Yes, I've been told that as well.
Ah, cool.
I just
So,
told me that you upgraded it. You now have unlimited time on my end.
oh yeah, that's you. That's not me. That hasn't got any of my credit card details.
Hi, Cliff. I saw you again, Cliff.
So the last one before we disappear. We're taking the stick or the nunchucks round here, and then I'm dropping the hand. I'm letting go with the top hand and replacing it onto the end of the weapon. Now, all of this stuff we've done is in a straight line, up and down. But if I change the hands over, I can do across the horizon. Yeah. And it opens up that extra avenue, which confuses the hell out of people because they only think, oh, he's going to drop down that way. No, I'm not. I'm going that way. And you see with the nunchucks, when it comes down and I drop the hands and that, I have to go that way round to get it back under control. So you can still do the same with the stick. You do look a little bit Harry Pottery, but you're getting control of it with the stick. And then just in case we do disappear, when we're using the stick for nunchucks, it's fine to do everything and let your arms extend and do what you need to do. But when it comes to using the stick as a stick, when we go back to the class with the stick, we're going to be focusing a lot on 90-degree angles so that we don't openly Harry Potter it. It's all going to be like that, as if it's a cutting edge weapon. That's it. So when you're practicing at home, practice the nunchucks, loose everything because that's what it's going to be. But the stick is a straight, solid weapon. Okay, cool. So apart from a little bit of technical issues, everybody's looking okay on that to go away and practice. There's no major wrongs or bits on anything on that, okay? It's just working through the motions. Tony, you're doing really good. Practice that underarm flip up. Practice it with the stick as well as doing it with the nunchucks. Because it is confusing. There we go. And then once you're confident with doing it every single time with the stick, so you don't have to look, so that goes straight up and you've got it. that's it. Then you're going to be safer. Because the last thing I want you to do is go, yeah, you can do this, and pick up your nunchucks and knock yourself out. Cool. Well, we've all survived. Cliff, keep up the good work. Things are working. It's good to see you as well. Because things have been a bit weird with this, and I know you've been probably down in the dumps because you're not being able to work and see people. It's all been a bit weird because I tend to live in a.
Mate, this has been a holiday. I'm getting paid to stay at home every day.
Yeah, see, I'm still working. Tony's back to working now. But yeah.
Yeah, bastard.
Yeah. my industry shut down. Like, we are the last ones to reopen out of the entire country. Theatre, last ones.
Yeah, lots of my American friends that run their own dojos, that through their gyms, are completely in trouble all over the place. And it's only people like Jake that luckily moved address just before this happened that saved himself a fair amount of money. But yeah, even people, the big names like Eli Knight and stuff, they're all having big problems at the moment because they're not getting the 200 students a week coming through their door that they get in order to pay their rent. So yeah, we're quite lucky being a small concern. Like a ninja, being a small concern, we're doing all right. So as long as we're keeping all right, and then when it gets back to getting hands on, we'll come out of this better. So, I was saying the other day, when we get out of this, it's going to show who was drunk, who's chunked up, and who's hunked up. And yeah, the extra hours that you guys are able to put in now, these are madness. So I know Gary's been doing an awful lot. Tony, you've been doing an awful lot. Cliff, you've been doing your best. It's going to show. The only reason I can do what I've done is because I've done this for 30 odd years now. This is the nunchucks is one of the first things I started because it was a cool karate weapon when I started learning karate. So, if we got time before it disappears off, the Philip Gelinas, Tuhon Gelinas, he did a thing the other day in one of his interviews with Tuhon and Son, and he was saying that visiting the martial arts, when you're doing the martial arts, is like going to a new town. And every time you go to that town, you learn different side streets and you learn where the good takeaways are and the bad takeaways and stuff like that. So it's just like I've been visiting the same town for 40 years, so I know it better than you do because you've only been visiting this town for a couple of years now. So that made sense to me. So the only problem is, trips to the Philippines and stuff, hopefully I've got coming up in the future. That's going to be awkward. So that's going to be a whole new town. I'm having enough trouble learning it in my bedroom, let alone going off and doing it with the people who know. So I'm incredibly sore at the moment because I'm doing an awful lot of stick and knife work. And it's movements and angles that I really can't do, but I'm learning to do. I'm a Japanese guy, and now I'm having to learn all these different angles. I've got muscles that are aching that I didn't know could ache. Cool. Well done, guys and girls, and little lady running past. Have a wonderful time. Stay in contact on this, and fingers crossed we'll be able to do this or something like this again next week, yeah?
Gary's just sent a message to say I'm still waiting.
He hasn't replied to the thingy on here. Damn it. Okie dokie, cool. Thank you, Tony. I'll send him a copy of this because I think it's recording it somehow. So cool. Well done, guys. You have a rocking night, and I'll see you very shortly, hopefully. Bye.